everybody, it's Trish again. This is episode 11 for Google My Maps, and for some of you who tried to tune into this a little bit earlier, you realized that Trish had an entire 20-minute video with no sound. No sound! And so instead of crying and stomping, and maybe I did a little bit of that, I just was going to meet up with my bestie today anyways, and so he came to help me save the day, and it's going to be an even better episode because he knows amazing things about my maps. My friend, Mr. Darren Malte.
Hi.
From Black Gold. He does what I do, but for them. It's kind of cool. And we happen to get along very well. We're both very low energy, not excited about technology at all, kind of boring individuals in general. So anyways, we are going to do My Maps today.
You had me at My Maps.
My Maps. So this is another one of those amazing Google Geo tools. And what I love about it is it allows us to make our very own version of Google Maps instead of just using Google Maps in the way that it is.
And that's a big thing. You can make your own, the collaboration that's built into it.
Yeah, that's right. So you can completely collaborate in these maps. You can add all of your own waypoints and markers, and then you can customize all those markers with your own pictures, videos, text, everything. And I mean, I love it because I was thinking beyond just the obvious social study use. So we know that we can make timelines, we can do history tours and all those different things. But of course, there's all of our regions that we're going to be able to look at and do from across Alberta and Canada.
So great for that.
But I really also love this, again, as a storytelling tool, maybe even to recreate the different plot or settings from an entire story, and being able to look at some of our different First Nations culture and different communities as well. And I love all the different numeracy and mathematical aspects that are part of the tours or part of the My Maps as well. So,
and you do see people making these maps and embedding them for a lot of things. Canadian Encyclopedia has a big one of First Nations places in Canada that they have, and it's just maps that are embedded.
And it's shared. And so Darren brings up a good point. These maps are completely shareable either via a link or you can embed it right on your Google site. And so let's get started. We're going to do Google My Maps. You can go to Google My Maps just by simply searching that. Or of course you can make a new My Map simply by going to your drive, saying new, and then choosing Google My Maps. So we're going to get started.
It's in the More menu. New, More.
All right, so a couple of things you'll notice if you're in your drive, you're going to say new, you'll go down to more, and you'll see your new My Map. Another place I like to go, because I'm not always creating new ones, is I'm simply going to google.com/maps, and then you get to see all of the different My Maps that you have. And so these are all the ones that I own, but of course you can see the ones that you've been shared, you can explore ones that others have made, and all of those different pieces. So I just want to show you one, just to give you an idea of what a My Map can do. So this is an example of a grade 3 social studies map. One of the things you'll notice about it is your maps have titles. It looks like Google Maps because it is in fact a Google map. I can have different layers, and I can also have different markers that go on all of those layers. So I want you to imagine being able to take your grade 3 social studies, bring it to life by putting it on a My Map, and you could even now assign this in your Google Classroom where kids can either make hobbies or you're inviting them as collaborators. And now for each one of these different points of interest, these markers, students can come in and I'm going to show you how they can add images, videos, they can change the different style and all those different pieces.
And each of those markers can be multiple images. It can be a little slideshow on each image. So for regions, it's nice for that, right?
Awesome. So we're going to get started with a blank map just so you can see the basics, and then Darren and I are going to take you through some of our crafty creations that we have for you today. All right, so we're going to go in here and we're going to create a new map. Now that I've created the map, the first thing I like to do is I want to be able to give my map a title. I'm just going to simply call this one region just for the purpose of demonstration today. Now, the first thing that we're going to notice is that we have layers. You don't have to have multiple layers within a map. You can have just one layer with many different markers on it, but it is nice if you want to have different layers to do different things because when you put in the published view, you can turn layers off and on.
That's what I like. If I have shapes, I tend to put those in one layer, and if I have icons, I put them in another.
Okay.
Categorize in different ways.
Very cool. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to rename this layer, and I'm simply going to call it the Parkland region.
You know, the Canadian Shield's the easiest one to draw.
I like a challenge, Darren. I like a challenge. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm simply going to start by searching Edmonton, Alberta. Edmonton, Alberta, we know, is within our Parkland region, and it's the capital city of Alberta. And so when you search a place, what it's going to offer you is, would you like to add it to your map? I'm going to say yes. Now it's been added to my map, and I can see that it's put the marker underneath the Parkland region layer on the side panel. Now there's some really fun things we can do. The first thing I like to do is you can customize that marker. What's great about this is if you've created an assignment for students where you want them to be able to look up a specific region and maybe look at things like industry, housing, food, you can put all of that. I've also done a project with students where we were doing animal research and we were looking up different animals from different places in the world and where they were from. And so we put all that in there.
Perfect.
The other thing is more icons. There's lots more icons that you can pick from depending on what it is that you're trying to do. So this is a fun way for kids to be really specific about the information that they're doing. But I like this one too.
Me too.
Oh,
Custom
buddy,
icons.
we're the
Do a
same.
search.
Custom icons. We're going to do a Google image search and we're going to search for our beautiful city of Edmonton. And we're just going to find that picture, add it on there. And now that is actually going to be the icon that people will click on to see my information.
That's great.
All right, what should we do next, Aaron? Should we try and edit and add some information?
I would like, yeah, a little paragraph in there.
Okay. This is a great way for kids to be able to add more details. Now, I will point out, you don't have to have the details that were provided from Google Map. I can just remove that, so it's simply just the text box that I want to be able to have. It makes it look nicer. So I'm going to go ahead and put in my little bit of information. Okay, so I was able to put a little bit of information here. If you have some students that need some assistive technology for being able to type, just remember that you could simply open up a Google Doc, allow them to voice type in the Google Doc for that information, and then just copy and paste it into here. I'm going to say save. All right, what's next, Aaron?
Let's add a picture right to that marker.
So the great thing about this is we can add images and videos, and you can have multiple images and videos in one particular marker.
Yeah, you can even add GIFs and they're really fun.
Okay, let's do that. Okay, so I'm gonna go search for Edmonton. Maybe I'll search for the River Valley. So I'll go and find a great picture of our Edmonton River Valley and I'm gonna add that. What's great about the search within this tool is that it's Creative Commons copyright-free images that we're allowed to use.
See the little plus there, if you wanted to add a second image, you could. Then it slides through those images
and it will
like
slide
a
through.
slideshow.
Yeah. I love it. And now I also want to show you how we can have a video attached. You can do a YouTube search here, but I find it's really awkward and I can't search as easily. I like to go out to YouTube, find that particular video, and paste in the YouTube URL. All right, why I love Edmonton. This is a great video. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to grab that URL link, and then now back in my regions, I'm going to do a YouTube URL search, and I'm going to be able to put that in. And so now we can see that. Now you said you wanted to be able to add a GIF, hey?
A GIF, yeah.
GIF? Are we seriously? We're best friends
we
that don't call it the same thing?
Well, hey. Usually I say GIF. I say both, just to not make anyone mad, but
it's GIF. The creator says GIF. Okay, we're going to show you how to put in a graphical image into your mind map. Okay, so for no apparent reason, because this has nothing to do with regions, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to copy that image address of that. Then when I come over here, I'm going to add my image by the URL, and I'll be able to paste in that, and it's going to load my dancing bear.
We don't know why.
We don't know why, and we're just going to go ahead and we're going to hit save. So you can see now what your students will be able to see is when they click on that marker, they're going to be able to now see their information. They're going to be able to click through. This is fully interactive, so they fit right in there and have all of those different layers of information as part of one marker. Okay, so because I'm here sharing with my bestie, helping me with this video, I want to show you how we can share and have collaborators as part of these different maps.
Collaborators to it.
So kids can work on these collaboratively in small groups, as well as you can also have a whole class map that everybody is contributing and collaborating on. And so you can actually share it so that everybody with the link can edit. I do that sort of temporary until the project's done. Might take a little bit of practice just before the kids learn the layers and not to delete each other's work. Never happens. So let me show you a couple of examples of what that can look like. So this is an example from the grade 5s at St. Edmund's School where we were working on some narrative writing for the spookiest places in the world. And so what we did is each layer is actually named for the child so that they could go and find their layer and then be able to add their information.
That's great. And did you make those layers for them, or did they name their own layers?
They named their own layers. They came in and they were able to add their own layers. So also imagine the grade 3 project you saw before. As a teacher, I could simply take this, I could share it so that anyone with the link can edit, or I could leave it as view only and then students make a copy of this particular map and now they're editing their own.
Great for a jigsaw, hey? They could do
absolutely. So now what we're going to do is I'm just going to show you how we can share that. When I go ahead and share, what I'm going to see is, first of all, I can add individual people who have the right to be able to edit this. So I could add my friend Darren. Probably get a warning that you're not Edmonton Catholic. Yep. Warning. All right. The other thing that I want to be able to do is I want to change who can access this. This is where I can put it public on the web so that anybody with the link can view. That allows people to view my mind map and the content. And I want to definitely do that before I assign this to my Google Classroom.
Especially if you're going to embed that.
And if I wanted to be able to use this where everybody who had the link was being able to edit, I'm just going to say anyone with the link can edit. I'm only probably going to leave that on temporarily until the map is done, and then I'm going to turn that off again. And we know with Google, you can change that at any time. Okay, so now we can have more than one layer. So in the particular regions one, we can have another layer maybe for like the Rocky Mountain region.
Yeah.
Adding layers is really, really easy. There's just an add layer button. So in here, I'm going to say add a layer. It's going to pop it up for me. And the first thing I'm going to do is rename it. I'm going to call this my Rocky Mountain region. And there you go. Bob's your uncle. You just rinse, wash, and repeat, and you'll do the exact same thing that you did before.
Awesome.
All right. Probably my favorite tool. I think it's your favorite tool as well in my maps.
The shapes?
The
Shape
shapes.
tool.
I
Yeah.
love the shapes. What have you done with shapes?
Well, so much. But for the regions, for everything else, but it really takes a lot of practice, I find, for kids to be able to get the shapes to complete, to fill in. So usually we practice a lot with the shapes.
Okay, well, let's practice. Should we practice
Yeah.
right now? Let's do it. So I'm going to show you a couple of my maps that already have those shapes embedded on them, so you can see. Those shapes can be things like lines, or they can be complete polygons that you've created just by drawing.
Yeah.
So we'll take a peek at some of these ones. So some of the ones that we have, this is a great regions of Canada map from Darren, where you can see the different regions of Canada, and then of course those markers with the information that's being able to, and you can see the different industry markers that are on here, the kids could be able to click through. Another one that we have is you can see the regions of Alberta, very similar activity.
Yeah. And these are all student examples too. These aren't ones that I've created. So
I love that these are student examples. Here we have the Iroquois Confederacy. Note that we can have different colors, different transparency that's available as well. And again, here's one for European exploration discovery where we can see the student was able to use the different images as the markers, but now we actually have the lines and the different colored lines to show the paths of that different type of travel and exploration. So let's do this on our regions. I'm going to zoom out here a little bit, and we know that Edmonton is in the Parkland region. And so we're going to see if Trish can practice this different drawing.
should we show just drawing a basic shape before we do a whole region, or what are you going to do?
I think we can do this. I think we can do this. So up at the top, what you're going to notice is there is the draw a line feature. Now, with the draw a line feature, I can add a line or shape. I can add a driving route, biking route, walking route. So this is really fun. Even if you want to keep track of like field trips you went on all year, you can put that in here as well.
And students will accidentally add driving routes and biking routes, and they do have to complete those routes and then before any of the other shapes will work again.
The other thing to point out is it's going to depend. See, I know I'm already on my shape and I got to click off of it because I don't even want to. There we go. Right now I have my Rocky Mountain region card selected. If I wanted this to be the Parkland region, you need to select which layer you're on before you create it.
That's really important.
So I'm going to create my shape. I'm going to add my liner shape, and we're going to do a really interesting version of the Parkland region. And all I'm doing is this is just mouse clicks. That's every time I make a click, it's like a very fun dot to dot that kids are going to get to learn to do. I know Darren is staring at me really weird right now.
No.
But there.
And you don't have to drag. You can click and then let go. And one thing I really like is you see these little ghost anchor points. You see these anchor points.
Yeah.
But a ghost one appears between every 2 points. And if you drag that, it pops up and then new ghost ones appear. So you can always edit your shape afterwards.
I love that tip. Now, I also like to name my shapes. So for this particular one, I'm going to call this the Parkland region. Oh, Darren clicked.
Sorry.
Clicked. No worries. I'm going to call this my Parkland region. And again, everything we just did in another layer applies. You can have text information, images, videos, everything applies to a polygon the same that it does the marker. For now, I'm just going to save that. Here I love, though, Darren,
the transparency.
The transparency in the colors. So think of all those black line masters we get kids to do in color. We can actually have them creating a more interactive and layered version of that here. So I can choose my colors. I can choose the transparency that I want that shape to have. And I can also change the border of what I want the thickness of the border and how I want that to look. So that's a really nice way just to be able to create these different shapes.
Yeah, and I've done a lot of stuff just in the beginning of grade 5 outlining the provinces, and it might seem like a kind of a simple thing to do, but it really helps reinforce those geographical concepts with kids. Just the provinces and where they are and what they look like, all that stuff.
I love it.
They're physically going through and they're outlining them.
Well, and what I don't know if everybody noticed, when you created that shape, it actually is giving you the mathematical measurements for the area.
I love that.
So let's show this.
I think
you
I
just
know
go
where you're
first,
going
you
here.
know where I'm going. Okay, here we go. So now that I have this shape, if I do click on that Parkland region polygon again, just remember that it's going to be able to give me the area that is belonging to that shape. But there's another really great tool that's built right into my maps, and that is the ruler tool. So this is where you can measure distances and areas. So I could measure the distance from here to here, but if I keep going with my clicks, it's going to let me move along. And now it's going to give me my area as well as my distance. So I really love that.
Shape.
Now,
Great.
should we show them the really fun Greenland effect? I know it's something that you love. So we know that when we're looking at our map, we can create those polygon tools. So I'm going to show you a map with Greenland, and then Darren's going to tell you about how we can compare this to, where should we go? Africa?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to pull up my Greenland map. Let's see if I can find it. Okay, so I have this, how big is Greenland? And you can see my polygon shape over top of Greenland. So what's going to happen, Darren, as I drag this?
Well, what's really fun is we're looking at the Mercator Projection. So you can tell that we have Greenland up here. And I usually say, which one's bigger? Which one? Is it Greenland or is it Africa? I don't know if you've done this, but when you actually grab that shape and you drag it, it's going to allow you to maybe.
This did this to me before, don't worry.
Can you do it?
Yeah, I can do it. I can do it.
Let me drag it.
Hold on. All right, so now I'm just going to be able to drag this. And as I drag over top of, say, Africa, look what's happening. It's like barely the size of Algeria.
Yeah. So Africa is actually 14 times bigger than Greenland. And it just, the map projection that we use, taking the globe and trying to make it into a rectangle on a map it skews the poles, right? So,
absolutely. So what a really great numeracy activity for students, being able to use maps and being able to look at those different sizes. I love it.
Great.
All right, so I teach for Edmonton Catholic Schools. I'm here in Edmonton. You don't work in Edmonton. Where do you actually?
Nisku is where my office is, and then I work in Kalmar, Devon.
Nice. So we're all over the place, and we know that our students are from many places in the world. So one of the things we actually want to show you is how you can actually import data when you're inside of My Maps. So this is a really great activity for students who are maybe creating a timeline. You want to do that beginning of the year, where are we all from, any of those different types of things. And so in previous episodes, I showed you how to use Google Forms to create a basic form. We had another episode on how to use Google Sheets. Well, the good news is My Maps lets us pull in information from Google Sheets into one place. So below this video, you can see that we've attached the Google form for you so that you could participate along and say, where are you from in the world? Or you could just say where you want to go. That's totally fine as well. So let me show you what that form looked like. So on here, I have my form, where are you from in the world? People can fill that out, and then it populates my sheet. Now, when I'm inside my region, I'm just going to go ahead and add a layer. And I'm going to call a layer where we're from. Now, the import button is the really important button here. When I say import, what it's going to do is it's going to let me choose the sheet from my Google Drive. And if I go into my recent, hopefully it'll pull it up because I had it up today. All right, so we've got where in the world are you from? I'm going to select it, and it's going to fetch that document. Now, where do you actually want the markers to go? Well, I want the markers to be from the column, where are you actually from? Then what I want the title to be, I'm going to include all of our names as the title. That way we can just see where each one of us is from. When I say finish, it's going to pull in that information. So now you can see all of these additional markers have been added with that information. So you can even think about how great it would be if kids were creating a timeline even of events, historical events, they actually put it in a Google Sheet or even fill it out in a Google form, and then in one click of a button, all that information actually is going to populate in their mind.
Summarize, get all that info in one place. Super fun.
Super fun. Well, that's it. That's My Maps, and My Maps with my buddy, and he's going to be in another episode
on Friday.
We're totally going to have on different outfits because we didn't record it today. Magic of TV.
Thanks for having me, Trish.
Thanks for being here. Bye, everybody.